So how is life? These days, some of you may be from the lockdown areas, no? I'm from Kadawat, of course. My area was locked down for a considerable period of time, nearly 2 months. Yes. Now, very recently, 2 weeks back, we were relaxed. That is, it was spreading not in my area, about 2 kilometers away from the COVID issue is there. Anyway, stay safe, stay home. That is very important. Wear your mask, clean your hands. That's very important. That is the only way to escape from this problem. Right. Today we are going to start. I believe last time I finished the total lecture. We start the lesson number 2, Principles of Economics, and quiz. Quiz is there. Quiz. Let me check. Yeah. First, we'll do the quiz. Quiz number 1. Can you see the quiz? Hello. Can you see the quiz number 1? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Right. Quiz number 1. This quiz short question paper based on the last week lesson. The short questions. Now in the normal class, I give them you all the 30 minutes time, and then we discuss. But this class, also I can give you maybe around 10 minutes to discuss, just to go through this. This is an open book exam. You can use your notes and you can discuss, and it's an open book. Now, usually we are familiar with these closed book exams. Now, in other countries, you have closed book exams, open book exams, and the take-home exams. So, especially the subjects like law, the take-home exams, assignments are there. So, the marks are counted for the final exams. But this is, of course, the open book exams. Please, go through. I will give you to go through. Can you go through this? Just 10 minutes, just to go through, and then we discuss. Yes, yeah, that's a good thing. Please go through this, and after that, 10 minutes. Now it's time. Yes, it's time. 10:35. 10 minutes time. 10:45. I will start. Right? Okay. Just go through. Read the questions, whether you will be able to answer. These are very easy questions. But check that. 10 minutes. Just browse this. Go through the paper, and then we discuss. Now, every lesson, end of the day, every lesson, I will give you a quiz. Now, this is the quiz related to the previous last week lesson. Okay, please go through that. 10 minutes. Right, we start now. Right. There are about the 5 questions. Last question is with detail. The question number 1, part 1. In short, what is the fundamental problem dealt with in economics? What is the fundamental problem? Can one of you answer me? What is the fundamental problem? Yes? Hello? What is the fundamental problem? Yes? Hello? Scarcity. Good. Scarcity. Now you can give the short answer, scarcity, or long answer, more accurate answer is scarcity of resources in relation to human wants. Scarcity is also accepted, but scarcity of resources in relation to human wants. Last week we discussed. Part 2, now this is interesting. Sarath said, opportunity cost of attending the IABF class today is watching IPL, right? Not IPL these days, at LPL, no? Lanka, what is our IPL? The Indian Premier League, no? Sri Lanka, yes, it's LPL, right? IPL match between Rajasthan Royals and Mumbai Kings. Kumar said, my opportunity cost is the sum of tuition fees, bus fares, food and some other miscellaneous items. Who is right? Who is right? Tell me who is right. Sorry? Sarat. Sorry? Sarat. Okay. Why is that? Now let's discuss. Now what is opportunity cost? Opportunity cost is the cost of best foregone alternative. Cost of best foregone alternative. Last week we discussed. You are for example, if you attend this class, IBSL class, you have, if you don't attend, you have so many other options. If you don't attend, you can watch IPL matches, you can do washing, you can do marketing, or you can visit a friend's place, right? Or you can have a chat with your mom, or bullying your little sister or the brother, if you don't attend. Right? Then you rank all these alternatives. The best alternative, number 1, bullying your the sister is the number 1. Someone may be missing IPL. Another person, it will be missing a good sleep, right? So it is the opportunity cost of attending IBSL, this online session. So it is the cost of best foregone alternative. You forego alternatives, right? So therefore, now in this case, you all are right. Sarath said the opportunity cost of attending the IABF class today is watching IPL match between Rajasthan Royals and Mumbai. He sacrifices, he gives up. Let's say Kumar said my opportunity cost is the sum of tuition fees. It is not it is the direct cost. You have to bear that cost. Bus fares, it is direct cost. Food and some other miscellaneous, they are direct cost, explicit cost. Now in the opportunity cost, we discuss about hidden cost, implicit cost, foregone cost. So therefore, Sarath is correct. Now, opportunity cost, I would say something about the opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is the most important concept in economics. Now, every subject has the core concept. For example, in chemistry, maybe you can say atomic, the structure of the atom, right? Then the periodic table. Or physics, you can say basic fundamental law, Boyle's law, Charles' law. These are the fundamental laws. The geography, maybe contours, drawing contours. Like that, every subject has a core issue, most important issue, right? Mathematics, mathematical operation, plus, minus, divisions, multiplication. Maybe without that, you can do anything. No? So that is the core. In economics, someone asks, what is the most important concept in economics is, I would say it is the opportunity cost. No other subject has this, the concept. Everything has a cost. Attending IBSL class has a cost. Being employed has a cost. If you are working, start working, you have to forego so many things, right? Being unemployed, again, so many costs, right? So that is the opportunity cost. Everything has opportunity cost. For example, in physics, there's a law called the Newton's law. What is Newton's law? You may remember, some of you have done science, may remember, every action has a reaction that is equal and opposite to it. That is Newton's law. In economics, you can say every human action, every action has an opportunity cost. You can say it is a Newton's law in economics, right? Every action has an opportunity cost. Take being employed, being unemployed. Marriage also has an opportunity cost, right? Marriage also opportunity cost. When you getting married, you have to give up. Your freedom is not there. Then you have so many other things you have to cut down, right? So that is, marriage has an opportunity cost. Every action has an opportunity cost, like Newton's law in physics, right? So therefore, Sarath is correct. Third one, evaluate this statement. Saudi Arabia can pump all the oil that it needs. Therefore, consumption of oil is free in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia can pump all the oil that it needs. Therefore, consumption of oil is free in Saudi Arabia. What is your answer? Tell me. True or false? It doesn't matter. Maybe any answer is you can't get. True or false?
False. False.
Sorry? True?
False.
False. Why is that? Tell
because
me
it is a non-renewable resource.
Sorry? Yes?
Because
Hello?
it is a non-renewable resource.
Say it again, please.
Non-renewable resource.
Yes. Okay. Okay. That's good. Okay. That's a good explanation. Any other explanations? Yes. Statement is false. Any other explanation? Now, just little while ago, we discussed the related concept. What is that? Everything has an opportunity cost. Even Saudi Arabia can pump all the oil, but it is not free. It is not free. Why is that? That's an opportunity cost. That's an opportunity cost. Why is that? Therefore, you can't say it is free. Why is that? Instead of consuming oil, extracted oil domestically, they can export. They can export. Then what will happen? Opportunity cost of consuming domestically is the export income that you are losing. That is the opportunity cost of oil, domestic consumption of oil. Everything has a cost. Therefore, oil is not free. That's an opportunity cost. Even though you have a large pool of the oil in Saudi Arabia, it's not free, because instead of consuming, you can export and earn money, earn dollars, billions of dollars, right? Therefore, statement is wrong. You have to evaluate. Evaluating means you have to explain that. Okay, this even though it is free, the domestic consumption of oil means you lose your export earnings. Therefore, that's an opportunity cost. As a result, we can't say it is free. It is free in Saudi Arabia, right? Okay. That is the Saudi Arabia. Actually, Saudi Arabia is the giant in OPEC countries. Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, because Saudi Arabia has an important advantage. The oil deposits are very close to the surface. Our extraction cost is small, but in other countries, it is huge. You have to dig. You have to dig this oil. Get the oil. Extraction is costly. About the 600, 200, 300 meters down. But in Saudi Arabia, it is very close to this. That is an advantage. Cost advantage is there, Saudi Arabia, right? That's why they have oil. They have large pool of oil. At the same time, the cost of extraction is also relatively small, right? Okay. Then next one, number 6. Now the number 3 answer is the clear statement is wrong. You can explain. Economic scarcity exists only in socialist countries because of the lack of incentives to produce. Do you agree? Explain briefly. What do you think? Only in socialist countries? Please, what is the answer? Yes?
No.
True or false?
False. False.
True? False. Yes. Why is that? Because scarcity exists everywhere. Everywhere in the world, irrespective of the type of the country, type of the economic system, type of the democracy, right? Socialist or the economic structure, socialist or mixed economy or the capitalist society, it is there, right? So the statement is wrong. Statement is wrong because why is that scarcity? Resources are scarce. Human wants are unlimited. Resources are scarce. Human wants are unlimited. Every day, human wants are growing fast. Physical needs, mental needs are growing very fast. Therefore, it is never ending. Insatiables. Human wants are insatiables. Humans are greedy. Therefore, to fulfill their greediness, you need huge pool of the resources, available resources are not enough. That is there everywhere in the world. Therefore, scarcity is the issue in everywhere. in the world, the globe level, right? Why is what to produce a problem in every economy? What to produce? Very simple. What is the issue? Why is what to problem is a problem in every economy? We said three the production question: what goods and services to produce, how to produce these goods and services, for whom to produce these goods and services. Right? Three basic production question last week we mentioned. No? So the what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. Some textbooks they include another one for the how much to produce, what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce, how much to produce. Now the recent textbooks they have included this how much to produce also in one of these three: what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. Right. So the what to produce is a problem. Why is that? Scarcity of resources. Scarcity of resources. Land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, resources, right? Okay. Now, last week we discussed normative versus the positive. I think, did I discuss that? Yes, no? Yes. Normative statement, positive statement. Normative statements is based on positive. Let's say discuss the positive. Positive are based on some numbers, models, facts, positive statements. Some numbers. The inflation is 10%. GDP is negative, -5%. Now, because of this COVID, all over the world, the countries will record the minus growth rate, right? So, the China, US, the Russia, the growth rate is negative, right? That is a fact. It's a fact, right? Positive statements are based on fact. But the normative statements, in addition to that, you give your own judgment, whether it is good or bad. Whether it is good or bad, right? Personal judgments are there. So the open economy policies are better than closed economy policies. It's a fact. It's not a fact. It is a relative thing. One can say no, closed economy better than open economy policies. Another person can say his judgments. Open economy policies are better than closed economy policies. Like that, positive economics based on facts, numbers, cause and effect things. Normative statement, in addition to that, we give you our own judgments. Right. The rate of inflation has fallen below 10% per annum. Positive or normative? Hello? Tell me.
Positive.
Positive statement.
Positive.
It's a positive statement because you can measure. You can measure. Positive P. Positive statement you can measure. Now in Sri Lankan case, we have price index, the new consumer price index is there, compiled by the Department of Census and Statistics. Every month they publish. Using that price index, we can calculate inflation rate. That's all. We don't say it is good or bad, right? So therefore, it is positive. Next one, definitely normative. Why is that? Because inflation has fallen, the government should now expand its activities. Inflation has come down. Therefore, government should expand. That is judgmental part. You can say the no. Inflation is falling. Don't expand the government activities. Let private sector increase their activities, expand their activities. Different opinions are there. It is normative. It is normative state, right? People in the UK. Now let's take not number 3, number 5, number 4. First, after that we'll come to number 3. Number 4, per capita GDP is higher in the UK than in India. Per capita GDP, per person GDP. You calculate the total national income divided by the population. That is called per person or per capita GDP. Now, if you rank, you can rank countries according to per capita income. What is Sri Lanka's per capita income? Remember, one of you? Around how much? Those who have done A levels or the USCIMA, charter, degree. What is Sri Lanka's per capita income? How many dollars per annum? Yes? Some guesstimate? Yes? Nearly 4,000, $3,800, 3,890 or nearly 4,000, right? Nearly 4,000, right? That is per capita income of Sri Lanka. US, it is 44,000 per capita per person. Kuwait, very high. Japan, 25,000. Like that, the Per capita income, India. If you compare UK and India, they have UK per capita income is higher than the India. That is positive statement. You measure the GDP, divided that by the population, you get some number. You can get to these two numbers for UK and India, then you compare. No judgments. But number 3, people in the UK are happier than people in India. What do you think? Normative or positive? Yes? Normative or positive? Normative. Good. Very good. Normative. Why is that? Happier than. Happiness. Happiness is a relative thing. Some people can say, okay, in India, people are very happy than UK. Their culture is there, their religious practices are good when compared to this. The very well disciplined people are there. You can't say India is good. UK are happier than people. People are happier in UK. That is also, they have very good democracy. Freedom is there. Not that much of lockdowns. Now, even both countries, they have lockdowns, but India and UK, developed countries, people in the developed country and the developing countries, because of this COVID, what the key difference is, in the developed world, people follow instruction given by the government, issued by the health authorities. But in our country, Sri Lankans very reluctant to follow these instructions. That is due to some cultural practices, due to some behavioral the changes, sometimes maybe due to the differences in income. They are not that serious, right? Some people, very poor people in the informal sector people, they are not that serious, think about these the health practices. But the middle income or the upper income group people, they are very concerned about their health, of this issue. Therefore, they are concerned. So that is but in some other countries, you have fine system. Fine system. For example, Australia, Victoria, the state was closed, shut down for a long time. Then they were not allowed to move to other state, the New South Wales. If someone moved, $5,000 US fine. Even sometimes even within the Victoria, they restricted that to the 5 kilometer range. Within the Victoria, again, if you move out, that's a fine. Using the fine system was used to discipline in some other country, but here it is very difficult. People are poor. You can't impose huge penalties. If you move out of Colombo or beyond the Kelaniya Bridge, you can't say you impose $5,000 or $500. How come they pay? They are very poor people, right? So therefore, fine system won't work in Sri Lankan case, but developed country it is working, right? Okay. People in the UK are happier than people in India. That is normative. Per capita GDP is higher in the UK than in India. That is positive. Last one, economics is more interesting than business mathematics. Definitely that is, but normative or positive? Yes? Hello?
Normative.
Normative, definitely. Judgments, personal judgments are there, right? Then the next question, number 3. Classify the following states on micro MI, macro MA. Macro, big things, unemployment, inflation, GDP, national income, per capita income. Right? Micro, small things, behavior of a consumer, producer, market for paddy, market for rice, market for coconut, market for fish, Paliagoda fish market, like that. Right? Paliagoda fish market is this now the keyword in most of these media people. Paliagoda and Minuangoda, Paliagoda cluster and the Minuangoda cluster, right? So therefore, micro is a small thing, macro big thing. In macroeconomics, we see the economy through a telescope. Microeconomics, we see a economy through a microscope. That is the difference, right? Let's say coconut production decreased due to severe drought in producing districts. MI or MA?
MI.
MI, good. Micro, one particular product, one particular market. Coconut prices, what is the price of a coconut these days? Anybody can answer me? Yes? Price of a coconut in your area?
85.
Can one of you tell me? I will tell my price.
520.
So how much?
120.
Yeah. Price, coconut price per nut is how much? I can't hear you.
120.
Yes, 80. Yes, last week in my area, Kadawat area, it was 100 rupees, 110. Some very small coconut, right? Even you can't put that in the scraper, right? Hiramane, because it's very small, around 75, 90. Now because of this shortage, mainly because of the bad drought, the bad weather, right? So the coconut prices are very high these days, very high these days, 100, nearly 100, 90, 100, 110 years, right? Coconut production decreased due to severe drought in produce in districts, micro, MI. Unemployment rate is less than 5%. Unemployment is an economy-wide thing, macro issue. It is MA, agree? MA, macroeconomics issue, unemployment. In Sri Lanka, what is unemployment rate these days? Last year, around how much?
50%? 15%?
Sorry? Yeah, my dear, I can't hear you. What is the rate? Central Bank? Yeah? You said something. What is the price? What is your the answer? I can't hear. You said unemployment rate last year? Yeah, generally our unemployment rate is around, published rate is around 4%, 4.1, 4.2. Now because of the COVID issue, definitely still there's no the concrete firm estimate. We can say unemployment rate might definitely go up, right? Unemployment rate. We don't know the number because some most of the private companies there are redundancies. They ask their people to stay home completely. They will not rehire. The redundant, right? Some people they say, okay, we will pay you a minimum. Your job is secured. We will pay you a minimum salary of 15,000. You stay home, right? Or you come to work, right? Something like that. So therefore, most of the companies, the redundancies are there. Unemployment rate might increase. Other thing is the self-employed people, unemployed. Self-employed people are also not there. They don't have enough work now, right? Enough activities, right? Therefore, the unemployment rate might go up because of this issue. In Sri Lanka, not only in Sri Lanka, other countries as well. Sri Lankan economy has been growing at the rate of 7% per annum. Now it is not the case. We had this growth rate in 2010-2012 period. Micro, macro. MIO, MA. Hello?
MA.
MA, good. The economy wide issue. MA. Nowadays it is not 7%. Last it was 2.3%. Now you can expect because of the COVID issue, it will be negative. Now the government say it is marginally negative or marginally positive. But most of the developed countries, even US, UK, China, the world estimates are also negative growth rate. Economy activities are shrinking. Unemployment rates are increasing. More and more people are unemployed. As a result, growth rate is negative, will be negative, right? Less economic, no tourism. Airports are closed, right? Then the tourist earnings we don't get. Only our activities, agriculture production is quite okay. Manufacturing sector also, import trade also restricted. Export trade also is a very restricted and not a full speed, full swing. The activities are not there. Then it is shrinking. Postal department, there's scattered the activities are there. So the stop and go process is there. Some people sometimes it locked down, sometimes it is open. Transportation sector, lockdown has affected badly, right? Well restricted transport. Therefore, economic growth, no economic activities. Economic activities are shrinking. Economic growth rate will be negative, right? Think about that, right? Insurance industry is becoming more competitive. Insurance industry, MI or MA?
MI.
MI, not MA. In the financial sector, last week I gave you the macro picture of in the financial sector. Insurance industry is one of the players. One of the way, you have commercial bank, you have primary dealers, you have insurance companies, you have the leasing companies. Then this is one of the players, one of the markets, insurance industry. That is, therefore, it is micro, not the macro issue. Right? Define the following terms. I think this question I want you to go through as an homework question. Please read the relevant textbooks. I will tell you, opportunity cost is the cost of best foregone alternative. Unemployment rate is, you can say, percentage of labor force without jobs. Percentage of labor force without jobs. That is the unemployment rate, percentage. Because the total population can be divided into two. Total population, 22 million, can be divided into two. Those who are in the labor force, not in the labor force. Not in the labor force. Total population, labor force, not in labor. Pensioners, old people, infants, minors, not in labor force. Then the labor force, employed plus unemployed. Both are in the labor force, right? Labor force. So when you define the unemployment rate, you get percentage of labor force without jobs. You don't consider about the not in labor force. Take the labor force. If the labor force is 100, only 4% are unemployed in this labor force. We say unemployment rate is 4%. Right? You are the labor force, employed plus unemployed. You can take down population, two segments, labor force and not in labor force. Labor force, you have two segments, again subdivided into two, employed, unemployed. Right? That is. Inflation rate is the percentage increase in the price index. Percentage increase in the price index. Percentage increase in the price index. Price index. So if they ask, this is inflation rate. If they ask what is inflation, continuous rise in the price level is called inflation. Continuous rise in the price level is called inflation. Not a one time. Now coconut price is maybe one time shock. Next month or the after 2 months time, it will come to the normal level, right? So this is a sudden shock, right? But continuous rise in the price level is called inflation. How do you measure inflation? Using the price index. Using the price index. Percentage increase in the price index is called inflation rate. Economic growth rate. Percentage increase in the gross domestic product is the economic growth rate. Percentage growth in the change in the percentage increase in the gross domestic product is called economic growth rate. Different countries have different growth rate. Now this year, of course, it is negative only. Right? Last year, the year before, you had only 2.7% growth rate we had, right? So the US also low growth rate, but this year, of course, they will have negative growth rate, right? Per capita income is GDP divided by the mid-year population. GDP divided by mid-year population. It is the per capita income. Now, I briefly gave the definition A to E. I want you to read the relevant text. Mr. Karunatilaka has written 2 books, or you can go to web also. Google, then I just put the definition of opportunity cost, definition of unemployment rate. Then they will give you the precise definition. Now, internet is very useful to study these concepts. Definition can be obtained. Now, this thing, please read this once more. I will give 2 minutes to read this. Short questions are asked. Okay, we'll read. A Korean professor who was invited to deliver a lecture on a few lessons of financial sector consolidation in Korea. Financial sector consolidation, for example, finance companies, small, very small companies, large number of the finance companies. Then government in Korea, they say, okay, now we are going to consolidate, amalgamate. Small company, big company can take over small companies. So that is called consolidation. Consolidation, because the higher number of small companies, monitoring issues are there, right? Then best thing is to let other big companies to absorb these small companies. That is consolidation. There are lots of issues. What will happen to the employment, unemployment, whether you absorb this company with the total employment, or do we have some compensation schemes like that, right? Korea was the very success case story about this consolidation. That's why actually we had professor was invited in long time ago, 2000. Oh yes, he was invited and delivered lecture. This is based on this his speech, and the yes, I constructed this one, not exactly the same. Right. Arrived Colombo Bandaranaike International Airport, BIA, midnight from Seoul, capital city of Korea. Midnight from Seoul. At the end of his presentation, he said that he had visited Sri Lanka in the year 2000 and pleased to see the changes being taken place in the city today. Some of his observations were BIA has become a very busy airport. Now, compared to 2000, now he has come to, let's say, 2015. Now he compared 2000 and today. BIA has become a very busy airport. There are large numbers of passengers both at the arrival and departure gates. All bank branches at BIA were crowded with customers. Number of money changers in the city has increased. Now in the Chatham Street, Vellavath area, lots of money changers. Now that is also one of the economic activities, right? There are large numbers of eating places in the city. You have lots of eating places, the Bread Talk, then small the restaurants are there, then big one, Pizza Hut, then McDonald's, these are there, the eating places. The security checks points in the city have been abolished. During war period, we had lots of security checks, right? Franchise shops of international food chains such as Pizza Hut, McDonald's, KFC, Domino, and Bread Talks have opened their branches in the city. They are international food chain, right? Spa is now, Spa has come to our retail trading. This is one of the international franchise chain retail trading. It's a South African based multinational, right? Spa has opened, I think, 6 or 7 branches in Sri Lanka. That's also quite good place. Right? I think Thalavatukoda area has that one. Pizza Hut, McDonald's, KFC, Domino opened their branches. Several highways have been constructed and a few others are being constructed. Right? Even in the midnight, large number of vehicles and people are in the city. Right? During war period, the city was dead. After 9 o'clock, some 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock, some cities were closed down, shut down, no people. Now, after the war, these disturbances, we have again. I think now these days again, our cities are dead. Colombo is almost empty, without people after 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Yes, that is happening even because it's COVID issue. And even in the midnight, large number of vehicles and people are in the city. According to this observation, indicate which of the following reason gives the most relevant. All may be relevant. I want to get the most relevant explanation. Read that. What is the most relevant one? A. Colombo is becoming a popular tourist destination. Yes, BIA is busy airport now. Most Sri Lankans now travel abroad. Yes. Indication is BIA airport is busy. Not these days. Actually, this statement was in 2015 or 16, right? But these days, airport is almost closed now, right? Increasing number of Sri Lankans could now afford buying their meals outside. Yes, eating places are there, McDonald's, the Domino, the Pizza Huts are there. Increasing number of Sri Lankans. That's also true. Then banking business at BIA is profitable. You can say, you can guess that. Actually, the thing is, most of the banks are not making profit at BIA. That is, most of the branches are not making profit, but that is a service to the people, tourists, right? That's why they are maintained with the huge overhead costs are there. No BIA, you have to pay the rent, electricity, AC charges, overhead costs are very high. Therefore, these branches, generally in Sri Lankan case, They are not making that much of profit, right? Anyway, banking business at the BI is profitable. You can say because of lots of tourists. You can guess that is also correct. There are lots of economic activities in Colombo and suburbs today. Of these 5, what is the most relevant one? Yes, A, B, C, D, E. Most relevant one? Tell one of you. Sorry?
B.
No.
B.
A.
D.
You said A or?
D.
I can't hear you. Yeah?
D.
A. Any other answers?
D. D.
Answer D.
D.
Answer D.
Answer
Answer A. Yeah?
Answer D.
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 Okay.
D.
Yes. D is more broad answer. That is the correct answer. There are lots of economic activities in Colombo and suburbs. So that is the most relevant one. Others also correct. Tourist destination correct. New travel abroad correct. They could afford buy their meals correct. Banking business also make profit. That is lots of economic activity. Next question they ask about economic activities. What economic activities that we can identify from his observations? What are these economic activities? Right? What are these economic activities? Right? Tell me. What are the economic? Construction of highways, retail trading. These are McDonald's. These are money changing. These are economic money changing. Economic activity. Construction, economic activity. Retail trading, economic activity. Security services, economic activity. Right? Then the banking, economic activity. Yeah, banking, construction, then the transportation, tourism, retail trading. These are economic activities. Now, when economy is growing, these economic activities are growing. Now, for example, tourism is now down. In Sri Lankan case, it is down. All over the world, it's down. So therefore, economic activities are shrinking. So economic activities are the key. So if we want the increase economic growth, increase the level of economic activity. That is the key. Requirement, prerequisite for increase the economic growth is to increase the economic activities, right? Okay. Next one, last one. More economic activities mean more employment. Do you agree? Explain briefly. Do you agree? Yes or no? More economic activities, more employment. Yes? True or false? True or false? Tell me. True. Yes, true. More economic activities, you have to employ more and more people. Labor employment increases. Yes. Now, it is true. But if you think of some other examples, when you say employment of labor, employment of capital, right? So therefore, it is the more employment means both included. Capital goods, you need more and more capital goods, more buildings, more computers, more chairs, more tables, right? Then employment of these. Then more people also. That is correct. Generally, it is correct. Do you agree? Yes. Explain briefly. You can think, explain it is a labor employment and capital employment. Employment of factors of production, both increases when there more activities are there, more economic activities, more foreign employment, foreign investments coming into the country, more domestic economic activities, right? So therefore, employment will increase. Right? Okay. Now we'll stop now. I want you to go through this again and write the answer. The thing is now I want you to maintain 2 books. 2 books. So the presentation, PowerPoint presentation, you have to get the save either in your computer or get a hard copy and file that. Then you are going to have quizzes. No quizzes. Definitely you have to get a printout or even in the computer. You have to answer that. Maintain that. Today's homework is you just go through this again and think of our discussion and indicate the write down the correct answers. Right. That is important. Right. Now we will come to the today's lesson. Yeah. Right. Next one. PowerPoint presentation. Demand, supply, and the market. Demand, supply, and the market. Right. What is the time now? 11:26. We have around 45 minutes. Right. We'll try to. I don't think we can finish it. The lesson. Right. Now in this lesson, we are going to discuss markets, free enterprise market system. Before we come to the lesson, we will first discuss. Yes. Yeah. This is our model. Now, economy model, structure of any economy, any given economy. You have markets, labor market, financial market, goods market, right? Then sectors, household sector, government sector, business sector, firms, foreign sector, rest of the world. Right? These are. It is the household, government, firms, foreign, 4 sectors. Markets, 3 markets: labor market, financial market, goods market. Now within the market, goods market, large number of players. Financial market, large number of different players: commercial banks, leasing companies, insurance companies, primary dealers. Right? They are financial market. Labor market also large number of companies, privately owned, publicly owned companies, self-employed people are there. Labor market. The goods market also, we know, large number of organized, unorganized markets, formal, informal markets within the goods market. Large number of small markets, goods market. Right? That is this. If you think about how many households in Sri Lanka, roughly. How many households? What is the population of Sri Lanka? Tell me. What is the population? Yes, population. How much? Some guesstimate. Country that you are living, you have to have, the foreigner comes and asks at the airport, what is your population? What is the average temperature? The average temperature, he's interested. What is total number of, what is economic growth? Now these numbers should be in your fingertips, right? So if someone asks, foreigner, come and ask, okay? What is Sri Lanka's population?
21 million.
21 million, good. 21 million, right? Good. World population is around 7.5 billion. 8 billion, yes. Which country has the highest population in the world?
China.
China, then India. 1.3 billion, 1.2 billion, 1.2 billion, 1.3, 1.2. Then total number of population is around 8 billion in the world total. So you can say around 25% of the population living in China and the India, right? Sri Lanka, it is 21 million. Let's say it is 20 million, just to calculate this. What is the household size in Sri Lanka? Average household size, how much? How many persons per household? Sri Lanka?
4.
4. Good. Yes. 4 people. Now this in 1950s, 1960s, what was the average household size? Sri Lanka? What is that? Around how much? 1950s? Your father's family, your father's father's family, grandfather's family, how many people average? Big family.
15,
Big family.
14.
Yes, big family. Yes, 10 people, 9 people. Now my neighbor, Mr. Herat, his family is around the 12 members, right? Brothers and sisters, right? 1 sister and the 11 brothers, right? So they have huge families, 1950s, 60s. Then what is happening to this population? The population, not the population, the per person household size is falling. Then 10 people, then 1950s, 60s, around the 7 people, 5 people. Now it is 4 people on average, but some households, young couples, they don't have either 0 or 1 child, right? So that is, the household size is falling. Household size is falling. Average household size is falling. Let's calculate first. Now the 20 million people, average household size is 4. Then how many households? How many houses? 20 you divide
Five.
by 4. 5 million households. In Sri Lanka, 5 million households, nearly 5 to 6 million households, you can say. 5 to 6 million households, right? Then that is one. So our household size is falling. Household all over the world, household size is falling. Average. What are the reasons? What are the reasons? Reasons? Can you guess, sir? What are the economic reasons? Social reasons? Sociological reasons? What are these? Can you guess? Why is that? Yes. Anything? One reason? Think of. Give me one reason. Yes. 1950s, 1960s, our mothers, females were not working. Mainly, they were they are household. They are doing on household activities, cooking. Our mothers were cooking, only cooking. They are full time. They are cooking, so they don't work. Very rarely the females were working in that period, right? They cook. It's a very the time-consuming job. Those days, not like ours. They don't have fridges. They don't have the cookers, microwave ovens, right? So it's a very time-consuming job, right? Scrapers, electric scrapers. So it's a job. On the firewood we're using, no gas, LP gas. So therefore, now you have lots of facilities. Now kitchen has come to the front. No, kitchen has come to the front in the house. Earlier, kitchen was separated from main household because the firewood was using, right. Then more and more females enter into the labor force, start working. That was one of the key features in Sri Lankan case, even the other countries also. When more and more females start working, your mothers, grandmothers were not working. Mothers, some of you are working, some others working. Then you all start working, look seeking jobs. That is when more and more females enter into labor force. Perception change. People's perception change, right? Then both the husband and wife start thinking, we both are working. You can't maintain the big family. You can't have 5, 6 people. Right? Do you think how many of you are thinking of to have the 5 or 6 the kids? Right? It's very difficult. Right? Then what will happen? They think, okay, 1 is enough, 2 is enough. Then sometimes in some household, that is a trend in developed countries, no child, no children at all, 0, going solo. It is increasing. Living together, living alone. Living alone is a trend in some of the developed countries. Even in Sri Lanka, I have met some of people. Yes, we are married, but we are not going to have children. That is the cultural perception changes. You can't say it is good or bad, but that is a change in perception, right? But developed countries, it is very easy. You have 911. Every time you can call ambulance. Police is coming, but here it is security-wise, it's very difficult. In Sri Lankan case, going solo is a bit risky. It's a bit risky in terms of health, in terms of these thieves are there, burglars are there, the police forces are there, but 911 facility is not there, people won't come. But in the other countries, within 2 minutes time, people come and visit your place and you inform, right? So therefore, going solo is not that easy in our country, but there are people. Developed countries, the household size is falling. So our average household size is 4. Total population 20 million. 20 million divided by 4 is 5 million. Right? Then the government is there. Then the firms. Firms, you have self-employed, publicly owned, sometimes some classification, public firms, private firms, semi-government, fully government owned departments, right? Firms, that also firms. We'll come to this lesson how to define a firm, right? Then the self-employed people, that is also firm, right? So like that firms, 3 sectors, 3 markets, 4 sectors, right? Foreign sector, import, export, trade. Then that is the basic structure. Now here in this lesson we are going to now we have government. How does the government take economic decision? Then how does the firm, how do private firms take economic decision? Based on what? That is the key question we have to answer, right? Government take economic decisions, what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. Companies take decision, private companies, what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. Tell me, how does the government take decisions? Or how does the firm take decision? What to produce, how to answer these production questions? How do they answer? Yes, tell me. Firms, private firms, how do they answer? What goods and services to produce? We have to invest. Should we produce more coconut or more tourists, more face mask? Yes, depending on that. What? Private sector? How does the private sector firm take decision? Can you answer me? Based on what?
Profit.
Sorry?
Profit.
Profit. Another answer? Another answer? How does the firm take decision? What to produce? How to produce? For whom to produce? How do they answer these questions? Basic production question. Firms, private sector. Yes? Any answer? Tell me. Demand and supply. Demand and supply. We call it market forces. Demand, based on demand and supply, changes in demand and supply, they produce, they take economic decision, right? These days, there's huge demand for face masks, right? We have imported 6.5 million tons of face masks from China, right? Huge. I listened to that in the news. Yeah, face mask, it's a huge demand. Locally produced face masks, you can produce a huge demand. So private sector can start producing face masks. That's the thing, right? Sanitizers, there's a huge demand. Every firm, every company, every household, every car, you have sanitizers, right? Start producing sanitizers. So demand and supply is the key. When there's a higher demand, you divert your resources to produce that good. When there's less demand, you withdraw your resources from that sector, right? That is the economic decision taken by, how does the economic decision are taken by the private sector. Government, how does the government take economic decision? Tell me what to produce, how to allocate their resources. What is the instrument? The government? Yeah, tell me. How does the government allocate resources? Private sector, demand and supply. Government, how does the government allocate resources? Anyone, if you can? Those who have done your CIMA, charter, day level, this is a very easy question. Degree? What is the mechanism, instruments allocating resources, government? Now, this is a very relevant question. Yesterday, we in the parliament, they discussed the third reading of our budget. Government budget is the instrument that has been used by the government to allocate resources among different sectors. Education, this one. Health. Now this time health budget is huge. Right? Sports, huge budget, right? So then the transportation, highways, construction, the budget, right? So government allocate resources using the budget. Firms allocate resources, private firms allocate resources using the demand and supply forces. Who compile budget? Treasury, not the central bank. Government treasury, finance ministry, or the government treasury compiles the budget. Central bank helps, but it is the treasury responsibility of the treasury, government treasury, the compiling the budget. Private sector, the demand supply forces, their board of directors are there. They take Unilevers. The board of directors are there. They think, okay, this time we must increase the face mask production. Some government factories, face mask, huge demand. And people coming with different proposals, and they evaluate these proposals and allocate these resources. Right. Now we will go to this one. How does the government allocate resources? Through the budget. Right. What are the key components of the budget? Explain briefly. Revenue, expenditure, budget deficit or surplus, financing the deficit. Government revenue, government expenditure, budget deficit or surplus, financing of the deficit or surplus, right? Deficit. Now in Sri Lankan case, revenue, expenditure, deficit, budget deficit, financing of deficit, right? These are the key items in finance minister's speech, right? Budget is prepared not for 2020. We prepared, they presented for 21, future period, estimated revenue, estimated expenditure, the salaries and wages, interest payment, the samurdhi payment, pension payment, expenditure. Then the gap, deficit, especially in Sri Lanka, we don't have surplus budget, deficit, right? Saudi Arabia, they have surplus budget, right? Then the surplus, China, they have surplus budget, right? Then the deficit, then financing of the deficit, borrowing, they borrow. It is like a household, the budget. Your household, maybe your father is working, you are working, one of your brothers, sisters are working, then you get to an income. Then expenditure, food expenditure, non-food expenditures, tuition fees, IBSL, and the medical expenses, the clothing expenses, various electricity, health expenses. Gap between these two is the budget, deficit or surplus. If they are a budget deficit, household budget is a deficit, you have to finance. Borrowing from the government, borrowing from the outside, borrowing from the foreign sector, borrowing from friends. So you have to finance this. That is the budget. How does the private sector allocate resources? Through market mechanism, interaction between demand and supply. Interaction between demand and supply. That is the market mechanism. What is the market mechanism? That is interaction in the market mechanism. You have the demand side and the supply side. Demand and the supply. So there are consumers and the producers. Consumers represent the demand side. Viola, we represent demand side. When you go to the market, Sunday fair, we demand goods. But if you go to the office, you supply labor, you sell your labor. So same person, same individual can represent demand side in the goods market and supply side in the labor market. Person, when you go to the market, you demand labor, goods market. When you go to your office, you supply labor, you sell labor 8 hours plus compulsory overtime. Then you supply. Private sector also, you sell your labor services, right? Or maybe government teacher, government police person, a doctor, engineer, then they are labor services, right? They sell labor, we sell, same person. Now I work for the central bank, then I sold labor for the central bank for 30 years, maybe 33 years, right? But when I come home and go to the market, supermarket or the Sunday fair, I represent the goods market, I demand side of the market. Usually what happens, my wife give a list of items, okay? The list of items, sometimes I don't take down this list and I just memorizes, go to the market, brought all the half of that item. Then again, wife say, okay, we have not brought these things. You have to go things. So that is the problem. So then again I go to the market and in the evening or in the evening. So if I go do the marketing with my wife, I will be a free ride. I just drive and then let wife to do everything. She got everything, one shot, come home. But if I go to the market, I have to go 2-3 times, right? That is happening. That is a common problem in most of the, I don't know, in my household, right? Okay, that is there. So the market mechanism, demand, supply. Demand and supply. Interaction between demand and supply determine the price of the good. Now these days, coconut prices are very high, short supply. Price is very high. If the supply is coming into the market, price will come down. So the price demand is more or less there are certain shocks. No, demand is more or less in the case of the coconut. It is inelastic demand, the market size is small, 5 million households are there. Generally, it is fixed, not a sudden shock. But supply definitely can change because of the weather pattern. Now there are a huge shock to the supply side. Shock is there. Supply has decreased, price has increased, right? That is the supply side shock through market mechanism. Now in this lesson, we are going to discuss first demand side, demand curve, law of demand, demand curve, demand schedule, and demand curve. Next, we will discuss supply side, supply function, supply schedule, supply curve. Third section, we combine these two, demand and supply curve, and discuss the market, two market forces, markets. Last section, we discuss the markets and the government. Government sometimes control the market, put maximum prices, control prices, or the minimum wages, minimum price for labor, or minimum price for the purchase price for paddy, 50 rupees per kilogram, right? That is the government guaranteed price, GPS price is there. So now here is first we'll discuss the free market, demand side, free market. In the supply side, free market, no intervention. After that, you combine demand and supply, then discuss government intervention in the market. Government definitely intervene to protect farmers. They impose minimum price for paddy. To protect customers, government impose the ceiling price for maximum price for consumer items, right? Maximum price for Panadol, maximum price. Very few items we have control prices now, but in Sri Lankan case, we had a large number of control prices for large number of items during 1970 to 77 period. Lots of items prices were controlled, right? But here it is nowadays. Now in 1979 we liberalized from the control regime to open market. Now most of the prices are determined by the interaction between demand and supply. No, not that much of government intervention, right? Okay. Now you know the structure. Market. What is a market? A market is a set of arrangements by which buyers and sellers are in contact to exchange goods or service. Buyer is there, seller is there. Some markets, buyer and seller cannot be seen. Example, most markets, you go to the shop, you go to the supermarket, you go to the Sunday fair, you buy things. Your father, if you are most of the this generation, like the father or the mother has to do the shopping, no, you all are not doing, no, right? So father has to attend everything, no? So therefore he goes there, he's represent demand side, sellers are there, suppliers are there. But some markets mainly operate through intermediaries. Example, intermediaries. Example, you can't see the buyer and the seller. Example, tell me, think. Yeah? No?
Agents.
Sorry? Stock market? Yes, stock market. Stock market is the example. Stock broker is there. If you want to buy shares, you don't just go to the stock market, you instruct your buyer, stock broker. Okay, I need to buy so much of shares from this company A. Please make arrangement. Then buyer, a stock broker looking for a seller. Then he arrange these things. Intermediaries. That is intermediary function. Stock brokers, right, are there. Primary dealers are there. Primary dealers, of course, on behalf of the government, they buy and sell treasury bills and bonds. Then they are also doing some intermediary function, but they earn some margin, profit margin from both sides. Stock brokers get profit margins or the margin service charge from both sides, from the demand side and the supply side, buyer and the seller, from both sides, right? That is, so some markets operate mainly through intermediaries. For example, if you want to buy book from international from England, one of the bookshops, right? Then you can't go there. No? You through internet there you go to their website and they place the order, pay using your credit card. Then following day or after 2 days time, the company deliver the book to a doorstep through DHL, right? That's all. Then you can that is through electronic media. Buy is in Sri Lanka, seller is in UK. So electronic media is the intermediary, right? Online these days, online is the key in most of the cases, educational sector. Now we are doing the online facilities, right? Online teaching. The A-level students, the O-level, A-level, even some private sector Montessori people also are taught through the online teaching. One of my friends, this small kid is there. He was going to his son's son, right? Okay, then their grandson is there. So he was very reluctant to go to this online, right? Online teaching is very small kid, right? Then start teaching him. He is very happy when there's no electricity. Sia, no electricity, school shut down. I'm happy, right? He's not. He's happy, right? Sometimes he's a naughty school, right? I can't play, I can't work, I can't run. So therefore, naughty school, right? People, even small kids. Right? Online is the intermediary. Primary dealer, intermediary. Commercial banks, intermediary. Commercial banks are doing the intermediary function. Those supply of credit, people in excess of money. Then the demand of credit, people in need of money, investors. Then commercial banks, intermediate. By paying some margin to the depositors, deposit rate, they get their funds collected. Then charging some fee from the investors, they issue that lending rate. Lending rate is higher than the deposit rate. So that is their profit margin. Commercial bank profits are proportionate to the interest rate differential. Lending rate is, let's say, 15%. Deposit rate is 8%. 7% is the measure of profit margin. They are doing intermediate function by linking depositors and the investors. Right? I think I want to do now the demand side. Quantity demanded. First concept is quantity demanded. Right. Quantity demanded of a good depends on quantity demanded, not quantity purchased. That's the difference between quantity bought. Here quantity demanded. Quantity bought is different from quantity demanded. Quantity demanded of a good depends on price of the good. Quantity demanded of coconut depends on price of coconut. Or quantity demanded of fish depends on price of fish. Other factors such as prices of related goods. Now, in the case of quantity demanded of fish depends on price of fish, PA, PO, other prices, price of substitutes, chicken prices, the meat prices, beef prices, then other substitute products. Sometimes the fish and vegetables, complementary goods, substitute goods maybe. So then the other prices. Next one is the consumer's income. Key. Income determines the purchasing power of the person. Purchasing power, consumer's income is a very important factor. Then his taste, likes and dislikes. Key. Likes and dislikes. And that is important. Likes and dislikes are key. For example, in Middle East countries, they eat the halal food, right? In other regions, they are not that concerned about this. That is due to the religious reason. Other part of the world, they don't eat halal food. They eat both, right? They don't mind that. So that is the taste is key. Taste differences, income differences, future price of the good. That is very important. Another factor that affect the quantity demanded, QDA equation is there. QDA is a function of price of the good, PA, P other, PO, consumer's income, I, T stands for taste, PAE, future price of the good. Today's demand depends on tomorrow's price, expected price. If you expect car price will come down next month, 2 months time, today's demand for cars will go down because people postpone their decision to buy a car because they expect price will go down 2 months time. Therefore, today's demand will be less. So today's demand depends on tomorrow's price. Gold. If they think Vogue Jewelers, if you talk to this one of the salesmen, and then some of other the managers, if you get the information, gold prices are rising next month, 2 months time, gold price will go up by 25%, 30%. If you say now, what will happen? You want to buy bangles, necklace today. Today's demand increases because anticipating 2 months time, gold price will be higher, right? That is, today's demand depends on tomorrow's price. Today's demand depends on future price of the good. So what are the factors? Price of the good, related goods, could be substitutes or complements, consumer's income, taste, expected future price of the good, expected future price of the good. Then last one is number of consumers. Higher the number of consumers, higher the demand. Lower the number of consumers, lower the demand, right? Then what happens? Demand for tourist industry, international demand for tourism, tourist level, what has happened? It has come down. Mainly, demand has come down, number of tourists has come down, demand for travel, tourism has come down because of number of the consumers, demanders, number of consumers has come down. No people want to travel now. It's very risky, right? Therefore, it's very risky. Then the people stop traveling other countries, right? They cut down the holiday plans, stop the holiday plans, right? More developed countries, at the beginning of the year, they have a very nice holiday plan. Okay, they work very hard. Month, then they get the holiday, 7 days or 8 days or 2 weeks holiday, accumulated leave, and then they decide, okay, we have to go to Sri Lanka, to Maldives, or to Vietnam or China this year, family trip, right? So that is their holiday plan is there. Then demanding there. Now everything is now disrupted these days because of the COVID. No holiday plans, no holiday makers, right? That is the issue. Now this is called QD. QD is a function of, F stands for function, depends on these factors: price, prices of the other goods, income, taste, expected future price, number of consumers. This is called demand function. Demand function specify all the factors, determinants, all the factors that affect, variables that affect the quantity demanded of a good. All the factors, demand function. Now, if you say demand for rice, demand for paddy, demand for rice, there may be some other factors or the government regulation, minimum wage regulation, right? Or the right? Okay, demand side, sometimes government regulation can affect if they impose a demand side, factor, demand side tax, right? Okay. Then demand function. Specify demand function is this. Demand function specify all the factors that may affect the quantity demand. This is a demand function. This is a demand function that includes all the factors, all the variables. Next one is the demand schedule. Demand schedule is of these factors we keep, other than the price of the good, you keep constant other factors. When other factors are held constant, quantity demanded depends on the price of the good. That relationship is called demand schedule. What are some other factors? Other factors are constant. Income constant. Prices of other goods constant. Number of consumers constant. Taste constant. Expected future price, people don't expect price go up or go down, where they think the same price will be prevail, right? Will prevail. So other factors are held constant. Then you have only the price and the quantity demand. The price of fish, quantity demand of fish. Price of coconut, quantity demand of coconut, right? Only the other factors are, they are not variables. They drop from the demand function. You get only these two. Demand function, demand schedule, then demand curve. Demand curve is the graphical underline. The graphical representation of demand schedule is called demand curve. Graphical representation. What is the shape of the demand curve? Remember, those who have done demand side, this market shape, downward sloping or upward sloping? Demand curve?
Downward sloping.
Yes. Majority of the cases, downward sloping. Majority. 99% of the cases, demand curve is negatively sloped. Downward sloping. Maybe very few cases, you have the upward sloping demand curve. Downward sloping demand curve means price and quantity demand are negatively sloped. When higher the price, lower the demand. Higher the price, lower the demand. So they are moving opposite direction. But there are in some cases, for some goods you have upward sloping. Higher the price, higher the demand. Higher the price, higher the demand. Upward sloping demand curve. Example, ladies. Yes.
Different goods.
Sorry.
Different goods.
Giffen goods. Good. Giffen goods. Giffen goods is the category of goods that is, this name comes from Sir Arthur Giffen, English economist. He invented this term. His name is Arthur Giffen. He found that in Scotland, Scotland or Wales, yes, some of the very poor people, when potato price increases, they increase the demand. Potato price increases, they increase the demand. Then he said for the very poor people, the potato is a given good. So that is, we'll discuss. Nowadays, the economists don't agree with that argument. No given good at all. But those days in 1940s, they observed this. The given good, positive slope demand and the price, quantity demand and the price. Another good, another type of good, actual real life good. Another good. What is that? Tell me. Some of you can answer. Positive slope demand curve. 99% of the cases, it is downward sloping. Higher the price, lower the demand. But there is a 1% point, it is upward sloping demand curve. Example, yes, gems. What will happen? Antiques. Antique. Price of antiques increases. People want to buy. Rich people demand more. That is, the value is the price. Value is determined by the price. Higher the price, higher the demand. Higher the price, higher the demand. Gem. Higher the price, higher the demand. Higher the price. So therefore, the shares, higher the price, higher the demand. If prices are, companies doing well, performing well, then price increases. People want to buy their good shares, more shares. Speculative goods. They are called speculative goods. They are called speculative goods. Higher the price, higher the demand. Shares, demand for shares. Earlier you said the given good. That is another category. Positive slope demand curve. Positive slope demand curve. speculative goods, possibilities of demand curve. Then antiques. Antiques, high the price, high the demand. Then precious and semi-precious good, gems, jewelries, designs, arts. The arts, they then drawn by famous artists, right? Famous artists, right? Then you can say the Da Vinci, right? Leonardo da Vinci. His arts are very valuable. Huge price in the auctions. They are sold at very high price. Demand is huge, right? The art exhibitions, saying of art exhibition is not a practice in Sri Lanka that much, but in developed countries it is the practice. Auctioning of art pieces of very famous people. They are rich. They can afford these prices, right? These kind of auctions are there in the other countries. High the price, high the demand. High the price, high the demand. Upward slope in demand for speculative goods, right? Now these days, of course, the companies, some shares of companies are rising. These drug companies, Pfizer company shares are hugely increasing. Why is that? People are thinking then their drug is more and more demand is there, more and more countries buying this product. Yeah, England has already started vaccinating these people. US yesterday decided to buy this Pfizer and Moderna. This another good is there. Another vaccine has been developed now. It is 95% success rate. Then huge demand is there. Then what happened when people are looking at the customers looking at their company performance, they want to buy. They want to buy the shares of any huge increased demand, increase the price, increase demand, increase the price. Therefore, that is now these drug companies or vaccination, those who demanded these drugs, their prices they are performing well, very well, right? That is the price, right? Very well, right? So nowadays this one of the Ayurvedic doctor, this doctor has produced the liquid medicine. He says it is good for this. It will cure COVID. Now demand is coming. Demand is coming. You think you may have seen that he's residing in Kagol area. Around 10,000, 15,000. So when they are to buy this the medicine, right? Still, it is not confirmed. Now the Ayurvedic department have granted permission to use that as a food supplement, not as a drug for medicine for this COVID issue. Food supplement, right? Even that also quite achievement, right? If we can produce good medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, we are lucky. We need not to spend billions of rupees to buy vaccination, right? We had this long time ago. We had this before Western medicine comes. We had this Ayurvedic thing. So it depends. It depends. We don't know the standards of these drug, but scientists are now searching this one. That is, high the price, high the demand. Possibilities of demand curve. I think from this point onwards, I will stop demand curve. Quantity supply after that. Now I will stop. Then the next week we will stop the supply side. Please start reading this. Now you have think cute quiz. Please answer this. We discuss all the points. I want you to take down this point. Write the good answers. Quiz. Have a separate file to have these quizzes separately. Then this one, please read this lesson. Be prepared. Next week we will start from quantity supply. If you have any issue, problems, clarification, please next week ask me, right? And I think I gave you one book, another assignment. Yes, definition of this question number 3. Definition of this opportunity cost, inflation, the per capita income. I want you to go through one of either the Google and get the definition, get the calculation. Then take down some notes on that. Okay, we'll stop now. Thank you very much. We'll see you all next week. Right? Thank you. Hello. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We'll see you. Yes. Today afternoon I have a lesson with this Colombo Uni people. Yes, around 3 o'clock. I'm tired, and we'll have go and have a lunch and start to that lesson. Yes. Good. We'll see you next week. I'll now exit.